Imagine a man who never says no, who always holds the door, who listens to everyone's problems for hours, and who suppresses his own desires just to make sure everyone else is comfortable. He's the quintessential nice guy. Society tells us this man should be rewarded with love, respect, and success. Yet, if you look closer at his life, you'll often find a quiet, simmering tragedy. He is repeatedly passed over for promotions, trapped in the friend zone by the people he desires, and consistently treated as an afterthought by the very world he tries so hard to please. We've all heard the phrase, "nice guys finish last," and we usually dismiss it as a bitter excuse used by cynical people. But what if there is an uncomfortable underlying psychological mechanism that makes this cliché undeniably true? What if the traits we call niceness are actually triggering an unconscious survival instinct in other people that forces them to lose respect for you? Today, we are stripping away the social scripts and diving deep into the raw, evolutionary psychology of why extreme niceness backfires. This isn't an attack on being a good person, nor is it an endorsement of becoming a toxic monster. This is a cold, clinical look at pattern recognition in human behavior. It is an exploration of how the human brain calculates value, detects hidden motives, and responds to weakness. If you have spent your life being the accommodating peacekeeper, only to wonder why you keep getting left behind, welcome to the psychology of why nice guys finish last. To understand why niceness fails, we first have to deconstruct what niceness actually is under a psychological microscope. True kindness comes from a place of strength, abundance, and choice. A strong person who has the capacity to inflict harm or enforce a brutal boundary, but chooses to be gentle, is practicing genuine kindness. But that is not what the nice guy is doing. The nice guy's behavior is rooted in what psychologists call a covert contract. This is an unconscious, unstated agreement he makes with the world. The contract goes like this: if I am completely safe, if I never cause conflict, if I anticipate your every need and never upset you, then you must love me, respect me, and give me what I want. Do you see the trap? The behavior isn't an act of pure altruism. It is a hidden strategy for emotional survival. It is driven by a deep-seated fear of rejection and an anxiety that who he truly is, with all his raw desires, flaws, and boundaries, is fundamentally unlovable. Because he operates from fear rather than strength, his subconscious mind uses compliance as a shield. He trades his authenticity for safety. But human psychology is an incredibly fine-tuned instrument. We have evolved over millions of years to read subtle behavioral cues, and our brains are highly sensitive to hidden agendas. When someone acts completely devoid of self-interest, always agreeing and always accommodating, it triggers an immediate subperceptual alarm bell in the minds of others. It feels dishonest. The human brain asks, what is this person hiding? Why are they working so hard to please me? What is the hidden price tag attached to this compliance? Paradoxically, by trying to be perfectly safe, the nice guy becomes psychologically unsafe. His lack of transparency feels manipulative, even if his intentions are peaceful. People instinctively sense the covert contract, and their baseline response is to pull away, to place him in the friend zone, or to treat him as a utility rather than a peer. This brings us to the first brutal psychological law of human interaction. The human mind naturally equates complete accommodation with a lack of value. This is rooted in behavioral economics and evolutionary psychology. In nature, things that are rare, difficult to obtain, and guarded by fierce boundaries are perceived as highly valuable. Things that are infinitely available, easily manipulated, and yield to any pressure are perceived as cheap and abundant. When a man has no boundaries, when he is available 24/7, changes his opinions to match whoever he is talking to, and tolerates poor treatment without walking away, he is sending a loud, non-verbal signal to the world's subconscious calculator. He is saying, my time, my energy, and my dignity are worth nothing, so feel free to treat them accordingly. Think about the way people treat a doormat. They don't hate the doormat. They don't think the doormat is evil. They just step on it because that is what it's there for. When you present yourself as a person with no friction, people will naturally use you to smooth over their own lives and then walk right past you toward the things they actually respect. Machiavelli noted centuries ago that humans never do good unless necessity drives them to it. They instinctively test boundaries to see how much energy they can conserve and how much benefit they can extract. If a nice guy teaches people that they can cancel plans on him at the last minute, speak to him with subtle disrespect, or take credit for his work without facing any consequences, why would they stop? He has subsidized their bad behavior. He has made exploitation profitable for them. Rational self-interest dictates that they will keep taking until they hit a wall of firm resistance. But the nice guy never builds the wall, because he is terrified that if he builds it, he will be abandoned. This fear of conflict leads to a massive psychological blind spot regarding the nature of respect and attraction. Most nice guys operate under the delusion that if they can just get people to like them enough, respect and attraction will follow. But human psychology separates these concepts completely. Affection and respect are driven by entirely different mechanisms. Affection is what people feel when you are pleasant and useful to them. Respect is what people experience when they realize you are a separate, independent entity with the strength to enforce a cost if your boundaries are crossed. You can easily like someone you do not respect. You see this in how people treat a sweet, compliant pet or a reliable piece of office equipment. They like it, they value its utility, but they don't view it as an equal. They don't defer to it, they don't seek its approval, and they certainly aren't biologically attracted to it. In romantic and social dynamics, attraction requires friction. It requires polarity. Polarity only exists when two distinct, complete individuals encounter each other. When a nice guy dissolves his entire identity, his opinions, and his desires just to mirror the person he wants to please, he eliminates the friction. He eliminates the separate self. He becomes a psychological mirror, an extension of the other person. And human psychology is inherently incapable of feeling attraction or deep respect for its own shadow. The ultimate tragedy of the nice guy syndrome is that the suppressed self doesn't vanish. You cannot erase human desire, anger, and self-interest. You can only bury them alive. Because the nice guy refuses to express his needs directly, his frustration slowly ferments beneath the surface, turning into a bitter, toxic resentment. He begins to look at the world with quiet anger, thinking, look at all the sacrifices I've made for you. Look at how good I am. Why haven't you paid me back? This resentment eventually leaks out in passive-aggressive behavior, sudden outbursts of anger, or emotional withdrawal. When the people around him see this sudden, bitter shift, it confirms their subconscious suspicion. The niceness was an act, a transactional play that didn't get the desired payout. The relationship collapses, and the nice guy is left alone, feeling more victimized and more convinced than ever that the world simply punishes goodness. But the world isn't punishing goodness. It is punishing the illusion of weakness. It is rejecting a performance of safety that lacks the spine of reality. If you are reading this and recognizing these patterns in your own life, understand that breaking free from this cycle does not require you to become cruel, arrogant, or selfish. It requires you to make a profound psychological shift from a strategy of submission to a strategy of sovereignty. It requires you to realize that the fairy tale of unconditional compliance is a recipe for lifelong resentment and exploitation. You have to learn to tolerate the discomfort of conflict. You have to start stating your desires clearly without apologizing for their existence. You have to accept that it is infinitely better to be respected for your boundaries than to be liked for your compliance. When you finally begin to say no, when you mean no, when you let people experience the real consequence of losing access to you when they mistreat you, the world around you will shift immediately. The people who are using you will leave, and the people worth knowing will suddenly look at you with an entirely new level of consideration. To kill the nice guy within you without becoming a monster, you must undergo a complete psychological restructuring. You are going to stop trading your authenticity for safety, and you are going to start demanding respect through sovereignty. This is the blueprint to rebuild your frame, reclaim your power, and re-engineer the way the world responds to your presence. The first step in this transformation is the total elimination of the covert contract. You must consciously intercept the subconscious deal you've been trying to force on reality. From this moment on, you will no longer tell yourself, if I am perfectly accommodating, people must reward me with validation, love, or compliance. The world does not owe you a return on investment for unrequested sacrifices. When you do something for someone else, it must come from a place of genuine abundance and clean intent, or you must not do it at all. If you find yourself offering a favor, listening to a problem, or shifting your schedule while secretly expecting a psychological payout down the line, stop. You are practicing manipulation disguised as charity. By stating your terms clearly or simply refusing to overextend yourself, you clear the psychological fog. You stop treating people as emotional vending machines where you insert niceness and expect validation to drop out. This leads directly into the core execution protocol of the sovereign individual, the integration of healthy aggression. In polite society, we are taught that aggression is inherently evil. But psychologists know that aggression is a vital, non-negotiable life force. Without it, you cannot protect your boundaries, you cannot compete in the marketplace, and you cannot defend those you love. When you suppress your natural aggression, it doesn't disappear. It curdles into passive aggression, anxiety, and resentment. Integrating your aggression means converting it into crisp, unwavering assertiveness. It means looking someone in the eye and stating a boundary without raising your voice, without smiling to soften the blow, and without apologizing for the space you take up. The nice guy uses a linguistic tick when he tries to set a boundary. He says things like, "Hey, sorry, I'm just really busy right now, so I don't think I can help if that's okay." Notice how he begs for permission to have a life. The sovereign frame rejects this entirely. The restructured man says, "I can't do that for you right now." No apology, no elaborate excuse to justify his boundaries. He allows the silence to sit in the room, and he lets the other person manage their own discomfort. To make this practical, you must run your behavior through the scarcity optimization matrix. Remember, the human brain values what is scarce and treats what is infinitely available as cheap. You must immediately stop being the emergency backup plan for everyone else's life. If a friend only invites you out at the last minute because their primary plans fell through, your default answer is no. If a romantic interest takes days to text you back but expects an instant response when they need emotional validation, you withdraw your attention entirely. Your time, your energy, and your presence are high-value assets. If people want access to them, there must be a baseline of mutual respect and reciprocity. If the exchange is entirely one-sided, you do not throw more niceness at the problem hoping they will suddenly see your worth. You simply walk away. The willingness to walk away, and mean it, is the ultimate source of power in any human interaction. The person who needs the relationship least always holds the structural advantage. You must also understand the neurological mechanics of attraction and respect in social dynamics. Human beings do not crave perfection. We crave tension. We crave the presence of an independent, distinct mind. When you stop agreeing with every opinion, when you state your actual preferences, even if they conflict with the person you're trying to impress, you introduce necessary friction. Paradoxically, the moment you risk losing someone's approval by stating your truth, their psychological respect for you skyrockets. They realize you are not a passive mirror designed to flatter their ego. You are a real, complex human being. You are someone worth earning, someone worth listening to, and someone capable of providing a genuine partnership rather than cheap validation. Finally, you must brace yourself for the inevitable systemic pushback. When you begin to implement these protocols, the people who have been benefiting from your compliance will not applaud you. They will try to manipulate you back into your old box. They will call you selfish, distant, or difficult. They will use guilt to trigger your old nice guy anxieties. This is the ultimate test of your new frame. When this pushback happens, you must recognize it for what it truly is: a boundary test. It is behavioral economics in action. They are testing to see if your new spine is a temporary act or a permanent reality. If you fold under their guilt, you confirm to them that your boundaries are negotiable. But if you stand firm, if you let them sit with their anger or their disappointment without scrambling to fix it, something remarkable happens. The system stabilizes. The exploiters will self-select out of your life. and the people who actually value you will adjust their behavior to meet your new standards. The tragedy of the nice guy is that he spends his entire life trying to buy a fairy tale with the currency of submission, only to end up bankrupt and bitter. But you are no longer blind to the mechanics. You know that true kindness requires strength, that respect is commanded through boundaries, and that attraction thrives on strategic independence. Stop volunteering for exploitation. Stop apologizing for existing. Step out of the shadow of compliance and stand firmly in the reality of your own sovereignty. The world doesn't reward the man who makes himself a doormat. It respects the man who knows his worth and has the courage to enforce it. The choice to finish last was always yours, and the choice to step into the lead starts today.